Welcome to Shakti's Gift, a podcast about creating a unique way of living. I'm your host, Marigol, Ayurvedic wellness coach, unschooling mother, and creative force. I think that life is a tapestry of all our stories, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly, and everything in between. So, in this podcast, I want to invite you to unleash your creativity and unveil yourself, your true self, so that we make this world a better place to live in. So, grab yourself something to drink, get yourself comfortable, and let's dive deep into what the hell does it mean to be a human in this modern age and time. All right. Welcome to Shakti's Gift. I'm with Mare today, and we're going to talk about feminine groups and all kinds of good stuff. So, welcome to this podcast, Mare.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here and to be a contribution to other women.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I know you have a podcast. That's how we actually met through podcasting. So, you want to share a little bit about like what are you doing in that podcast?
Yes, I was in a podcasting class with you.
Yeah.
That is how we met. It's very exciting. It was an awesome experience.
Yeah.
And what came out of the experience is a podcast. For me, I started a podcast with another girlfriend. And we launched it in December. What I'm hoping is to to offer women a way to get connected to their dreams, get clear on what their dreams are, and then create the support system so they're not doing it alone. They're doing it with other women. And their dreams will begin to materialize faster with the connection of other women's power fueling those dreams. And then the second caveat for me, or third or fourth, I don't know what number I'm on, is permission to change your mind. I think that's critical for women. You can change your mind. You do not have to stay committed to this dream. You can go, oh, that doesn't really work for me anymore, or that isn't even mine. I chose that because of an unconscious energetic pattern of my ancestors, or my school, or my religion, or my society, country where I live, etc. It all builds. It all is part of the human energetic web of energy.
Yeah. So how is your podcast called?
It's called Connection Project 360 because, well, conscious connection circles is what I do, and I've done them or facilitate, and I have been facilitating them for close to 30 years, not quite, but close to 30 years now. And what I know about being in connection with women, we are taught to take care of others before ourselves. Everybody comes first. If there's any leftovers, you're welcome to them. However, the focus, the intention of our society is take care of others. What I find is that if women aren't fueling their heart songs, the gas tank of giving to others drains them really quick, and it dilutes what they're able to contribute to their families, to work, to society. The process of a conscious connection circle, or being part of it, it starts with getting clear on what you want. So what I know is that, and we call it a living intention list. It's like a bucket list, but it's really going from a bucket list to a living intention list. It's more powerful. It's alive. It's moving. It's living. It is a living list. And what I know, because of all the years that I've been doing this, that 50 is the right number. And why is 50 the right number? 50 is the right number because your ego can't sabotage all 50 at once. So the divine energy can come in and help fuel and work on the seed of your dream while your ego is trying to sabotage the few that it can see. Sometimes I explain this to others as though you're pulling things out of a laundry dryer and you're holding a load of laundry and carrying it somewhere to fold the clothes or hang them. You might be able to hold 50 items. There might be socks, underwear, t-shirts, pajamas, etc. So you could literally hold 50 items, but you can't see all 50 items that are in
Mm.
your arms and identify them separately. The ego will sabotage everything it can see. Oh, we can't do that. We're not good enough to do that. Who are you? Who do you think you are wanting this or that or your dreams? And that's why 50 is the right number.
Mm.
50 is the right number because we give the ego some things to destroy. And then the divine energy comes in and helps us bring the rest of it to the forefront of our lives with the help of other women.
Mm.
Because we give, our receivers are often off.
Yeah.
They're not in tune. They need a tune up. When you're in circle with women who also come to the table with their list of 50 living intentions, I might be able to, and you get a copy. Everybody gets, and when you're in circle with someone, you get a copy of everybody's 50 living intentions. I can read yours and say, oh, I'm thinking of you today, and I can support you on creating a new path for your podcast, a new voice for your podcast. I can contribute to that dream, that living intention,
Mm.
and do something to give to you. In the giving in a circle, what happens is I also need to receive the gift from you of my voice being part of your podcast. That's a gift to me.
Mm.
I I learn to receive that so that when I'm giving back to you, the energy is cleaner and more authentic. If all I'm doing is giving and not receiving, my giving is actually toxic.
Mm.
There's resentment in it.
Right.
There's have to in it. There's should in it.
Yeah.
There's um, resistance in it.
Yeah.
I
It's like a
have to
chore. Yeah. It's a
done
chore.
right. That is what in a conscious connection circle we're hoping and teaching and allowing the flow of giving and receiving to become more like the infinity sign.
Mm-hmm.
Is it perfect in every moment? No, because
Of
we
course not.
are having a human experience.
Yes,
And the human experience is messy.
it is. It is. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, let's talk a little bit about that messiness because it's so funny that, how everything is so much aligned. And I was just earlier talking about women's relationship to one another, which can be toxic sometimes. And I know from my experience, I know that there's sometimes a lot of competition that is like very unhealthy between women's and jealousy and that kind of stuff. Do you did you see that in your circles,
Of course, there's some of that that will show up because we are having the human experience.
right?
And all those hidden energetic patterns that we were talking about, yes, some of that will come to the table. What happens in circle is we go, oh, isn't that a cute little human moment? You're having a
Mm.
human moment. Is that really yours? Could you? Oh, I know you're not saying that to me. Who are you talking to? Right? Like, do over, start over. What are you needing? What are you afraid of? What do what what could help make this shift this, make this better? Do you know that that's not true?
Mm.
That's not true. You are lovable just the way you are. You're not doing anything wrong. There's enough for all of us. It's language, but does it show up in some messy human packages and some clumsy words? Absolutely yes. Does the list show up in the beginning as a bucket list, meaning just items to check off? A lot of times, yes, because it's kindergarten. So it's you're just learning how to excavate the things that you want onto a piece of paper that you are sharing with other people. So they're going to see you, right? So a lot of times in the beginning, what people write is very vanilla.
Mm-mm.
With time, those living intentions get deeper and
Mm-hmm.
wider and clearer. And the clearer you are, the easier it is for us to support you. I'm aware that I'm feeling competitive in this moment, that your podcast is way better than mine. Yours is so good. I've been listening to your episodes, and I don't think I'm ever going to be able to have that voice that you have. I mean, it's just amazing. And the way that you're able to ask the questions and pull the juicy moments from another human is just so delicious. And I wish I could be as good as you, right? That's an example of what I might say. I might not say it like that. I'm kind of exaggerating for an example, but I might present in that you get my vibe. It's like, oh, hey, what's going on here? And what the underneath is that I'm not feeling worthy enough to be an equation.
Mm.
And you might say to me, oh, that's so not true. Do you want to see the little fear monster that's that I'm carrying as I'm talking to people? It's not as the vision that we place on other people's life experiences is not always the truth of what's going on.
Yeah.
So yes, humans show up to a circle. There's going to be human conversations. There's going to be human, I call them judgment dragons. It's an ego, a human ego, in my definition, is a collection of judgment dragons. So there's not just one, there's many.
Mm.
And a collection of dragons is called a flight of dragons. And there's an author that calls it a thunder of dragons, because if you can imagine all their wings unfolding at once, there's like a thunderous sound.
Mm.
I make up that the ego is a collection of judgment dragons, and their job is to protect us, to keep us 100% safe 100% of the time. And what does that look like? Keeping us in the box of what they know.
Mm.
It's too scary to allow my human to go out into what we don't know, because I, as their protector, I don't know how to protect you in the what I don't know that I don't know.
Right.
And so their job is to cause that resistance. So we have to look at the contrast and go, I see what you're saying, Judgment Dragon, and my curiosity is bigger. So I'm going to take that stuff into the what I don't know, I don't know. And you're coming with me, because as the ego, it's the flight of my judgment dragons. As long as I'm having a human experience, they come with me. That's part of being human.
Mm-hmm.
Being human, in my definition, which I got from others, so it's not like I made this up all by myself. I believe I'm spirit having a human experience.
Mm-hmm.
And the ego makes up stuff. It puts meaning onto things, experiences. It creates the stories. Without that, I'm just divine energy. that's what we wrestle with in a conscious connection circle together. We call out our dragons, we see the dragons, we feed the dragons love instead of fear, so that it gives a woman wings to move forward on her dreams. That's
I
what
love
happens.
that. That's amazing. And I think you've been doing that for quite some times. Can you tell us like how it started?
Yes, I've been doing it for almost 30 years. It started because I heard a story on television news or read it in a magazine. I quite frankly, I, I don't remember where I heard the story, but it was about two women
Mm.
who met in high school because one girl's dad was getting his medical doctor degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so once his school piece was done, he got a residency in New York City. So he had to move the family to New York City. They had
Right.
lived in Tennessee. They moved to New York City. These two girls meet freshman year of high school. And the girl from Tennessee thought New York City was magic because she had come from a rural area. So she
Mm.
wasn't exposed to all the culture and all the pieces that were available. Her dream was to someday go to Europe.
Mm.
So she enrolled her friend, who she met in high school, into creating European experiences in everything they did. So every festival they went to, every museum that they attended, every social event, she figured out how to connect it to Europe. One time they asked their moms to take them to a high tea experience at a five-star hotel. They're 14, they can't drive. Their moms have to take them, but they get all dressed up. They have this wonderful experience, and the girls talk about it as though they had queen with tea with the Queen of England. And the stories go from there. Fast forward, she's married, her husband is at a conference in Paris, and so when the conference is done, his wife is going to fly over and meet him, and it's going to be her first stamp in her passport. The plane blew up over the ocean and everyone perished.
Mm.
She never stepped foot on European soil.
Mm.
But her friend who's telling the story says she lived her European dream every day. And it rocked my world. I was like, oh my gosh, A, what is my dream? I don't even know what my dream is. I'm just following the society's rules. Oh, you go to school, you get a job, you get married, you have baby, like
Mm.
blah, just kind of
Right.
following the formula. I didn't know what my dreams were. I wasn't clear on them. I didn't know. I have six sisters and brothers, but I have six sisters. I didn't know any of my sisters' dreams. I didn't know my friends' dreams. I didn't know my mother's dreams. I was devastated that I wasn't showing up for the people that I love supporting their dreams.
Mm.
So I invited them to a tea party
Mhm.
and I asked them to bring the 10 things they wanted to do to live their best life, a bucket list, but bucket list wasn't a vernacular back when I started this. So I just asked them, I was asking for their dreams. I wanted to know their top 10 dreams.
Mhm.
And I asked them to bring a copy for each person. When they left, my my friend and I, who were sharing an apartment together, we we taped those lists to the back of our apartment door, and then every day before we went to school or work, because we were both in college at this point in time, we would read one of those lists out loud and then go about our day. So we would take turns reading somebody else's list of dreams. Then what happened is once every 6 months, we would all get together again for a tea party and you would bring a fresh list. You might have accomplished some things on your list, or you might uh, want some different things on your list. And we would begin to support people. Then other people wanted to play and I didn't want to play with them because I was too busy. Like I was in school, I was going to work, I was trying to date, you know, there was too much going on. And so I told them I would help them create their circles, but that, or tea party or whatever, but that I was not going to be in all of theirs. So I helped them and helped them create, the process, etc. And that's what's been going on for all these years. So what you do is you have a list of 50 living intentions. That came later. We learned that 50 was the right number.
Right.
At first we started with 10. You meet once every 6 months. You give everybody an updated list.
Mm.
In between the 6 months, you might text someone or you might send them something that's on their list. Like somebody might want to swim with the dolphins. And there was a time when I traveled a lot for my job, and in the back of the airline pocket would be a travel guide, and there would be some ad for swim with the dolphins. And those magazines were free. I would take it back to the hotel. I would cut out the ad and I would mail it to the person who said they wanted to swim with the dolphins and just give a note of thinking of you. When are you swimming with the dolphins?
Right.
It could be a phone call. I mean, these aren't about social, going to the movies, going to dinner. You could do those things. It's not
Mm.
off the table, but that's not what it's about. It's about me reading your list. I read lists, they're all on my walls. Like I have lots of lists now of people's. I meditate on one a day and send that person energy. I might send well, one of the things I've been working on in the last couple of weeks, because this is January when I'm talking to you, so it's the new year. So I've been asking some of the women, what's your word of the year? What's your favorite flower? And what's your favorite color?
Mm.
And then what I've been doing is I've been creating bookmarks,
Oh,
of a person's favorite flower, color, and then writing their word on it and mailing it to them. So that's a way of supporting their word of the year or their intention, their energetic intention for the year in a simple way.
that is so sweet. That is just so sweet. I love it. You know, I have a question for you. Like, do you remember your first list?
I have my first list
Oh, you
somewhere.
do?
Well, yeah, I have the hard copy of my first list, and that will definitely be in the book I'm writing. You'll have an
Nice.
example of you'll have my first list. One of the things on my first list was to graduate with a college degree.
Mm.
One of them was to find the love of my life and get married. One of the things on my list was learning to cook, which is no longer on my list because what I learned is that that wasn't mine. That was society's,
Mm.
not mine. I made up that in order to get married, in order to attract a man, I had to be a good cook.
Mm.
That's what I saw on television, commercials. That's what I saw. My mom was in an apron and had dinner on the table when my dad got home. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's the messaging, right? So I'm like, oh
Right.
my gosh, if I don't know how to cook, then I can't be a wife.
Mm.
I can't attract a man. So it was on my list to learn how to cook because that wasn't my thing. It was on my list for a lot of years before I realized it wasn't mine.
Mm.
It is not on my list anymore. And I am happily married. I mean, happily married. I did not get married until I was in my 40s.
Mm.
And so, one thing I thought, oh, this is never going to happen. This isn't working. Well, the universe, we don't get to say how and when. We say what we want, right? And the universe creates the ingredients to
Yeah.
bring the best experience for us that we're asking for.
Yeah.
So even
Did you leave the get married on your list for all those years? Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm
You never gave up, you never caved in.
no, no, no. I just thought I just wasn't. Um, I had just hadn't found him, right? It just I just hadn't found him, and maybe it wasn't for me, right? Like
Hmm.
maybe I did have doubts. I left it on my list, and I still had doubts.
Mm.
Maybe this isn't for me.
Right.
Maybe the message from the universe is that I'm not marriage material because I
Oh,
don't know how to cook. So I'm never gonna, like I definitely had the judgment dragon rumbles of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough because I don't know how to cook.
Right?
as an example. I mean, I'm sure there were other points, but that's an example of one that is no longer on my list. But what is still on my list is I am in a happy, healthy marriage.
Hmm.
It's true. I am in a happy, healthy marriage. I'm not taking that one off my list. I intend to put my energy and time and intention into having a healthy, happy marriage.
Hmm.
And I do.
Yeah, so you can leave something that is kind of already happened or like that. Like it's not like a statement where you say, I'm going to finish my degree. So you don't leave that because it's done, it's finished, but something that is like more subtle, like having a healthy marriage that it's something that you have to work on like every day and to just like keep on doing it. So you can leave that kind of stuff in your list.
Absolutely. That's when you have 50 items,
Mm,
it's and the complete a college degree is not on my list anymore. It's on my done list, my finished
right.
list with a date, right?
Yeah.
So the beauty of moving things off the list that you complete, it might be that you want to swim with the dolphins. We talked about that. I swam with the dolphins on this date. That is now on my completed list. I move it to the bottom of mine so that it's all in one document. Some people have completely separate lists. Some people have the dates of when they completed it. Everyone does the list a little different, I guess is my point.
Right.
There's not one set way to do it. I've just learned over the years that 50 works the best and it changes. There are some check off items: swim with the
Yes.
dolphins,
Right.
visit Canada,
Yeah.
um, mm, go to a
Something,
specific restaurant,
yeah, something more tangible.
see a
It's,
play, go to
yeah,
a concert, a specific concert. You know, I can check that off. I can put the date of when that happened and it goes on
right.
my done list. So when I get into a pity party or when somebody in circle gets into a pity party where they're boo-hooing because life sucks and they're so horrible and they're not worthy and blah blah blah, they can't do anything. They'll say to me or I'll say to them, pull out your done list. Read
Mm,
that to me out
mm.
loud. And you begin to read the things that you have done and you're like, what what I, oh, okay, it's a calibration, right?
Yeah.
Because a judgment dragon will have you focused on how horrible and terrible and mean and awful and not worthy you are,
Mm,
and it is not true.
it is
It is
not.
one teeny little tiny point of view, but you just have to shift your perspective. Sometimes what I'll say to a person in circle is, it sounds like you're in the brick box.
Mm,
So you look forward and you see brick. On a let's say it's the I want to learn how to cook.
mm-hmm.
I'm seeing that I don't know how to cook. I'm so focused on not knowing how to cook that I'm never going to find a man because I don't know how to cook. And my friend will say, it sounds like you're in the brick box. And I'll say, yes, I look ahead of me and I can't cook. It's brick. I look to the right of me. I see a brick wall. I cannot cook. I look to the left of me. I cannot cook. I
Mm.
look up. It's a brick ceiling. I cannot cook. I look down. It's a brick floor. I cannot cook. And my friend says, turn around, turn around. But I'm arguing for my point of view of how I can't cook. And my friend keeps encouraging me to turn around. I finally turn around. It's completely open. I walk out. I walk out of the I can't cook
Mm-hmm.
box. What can I do? I can order food.
Yeah.
I can receive the gift
Mm.
of one of my friends who loves to cook.
Mm.
I appreciate other cooking by other people way more than most people do because I understand the skill it takes to be the scientist
Mm.
that understands heat and ingredients and spicing it just that's an art form.
Yeah.
And my contribution to the world is to appreciate
Hmm.
the details of a cook's skills.
Hmm. I love that. There's always a way to see a situation where you can see the darkness or you can see the light. It's you're choosing, right? You're just choosing it. It doesn't really matter. I think that the consciousness of knowing that you're choosing, it takes off a lot of pressure on our shoulder.
Yes, it does. It
So
does.
how did your life change from the moment you started to be to live out of service? Because I'm listening to you and um I mean it's so beautiful to be there and support women and to be supported by women. But I want to ask you, in your point of view, in your experience, how did it change your life to be of service like that, to be there for other women?
What I became conscious of at some point, and I couldn't tell you when that light switch turned on, but at some point in showing up in circle with different circles of women now, because I've been doing it a long time, what I know is that when women get clear about their dreams and are supported in those dreams becoming reality, they feel better.
Hmm.
And when a woman feels better, her family feels better. And when her family feels better, the community feels better.
Hmm.
And when the community feels better, the world feels better. And that's my intention.
Hmm.
It's the fish story, teaching someone to fish versus feeding them a fish dinner.
Right.
My intention is the more women who get clear on what their dreams are and then get supported for those dreams to become real.
Hmm.
And that doesn't mean it's a light switch and it's super easy and roses and butterflies and rainbows in every moment. No, there is a process, there is time. But when other women are holding the space, when you're having your pity parties and your judgment dragon rumbles, you're being held in an energetic love
Hmm.
vibration. You come out the other side. And, and energetically, vibrationally, you move closer to being able to hold and sustain the vibration of love.
Hmm.
And the longer we can each hold and sustain the vibration of love, because it's either you're in the vibration of love or you're not, period. That's there's no gray area. You're either
Hmm.
in or you're out. That's so the service you're talking about is helping people stand in their power of being able to generate and hold the vibration of pure loving light energy
Hmm.
in the human experience, which means we get knocked off of that quickly and fast. The difference is you don't stay in suffering as long
Yeah.
because somebody in circle will say, "Hey, what's going on?" That's not true. When you're done being in pity party, let me remind you of who
Hmm.
you are. Amazing, creative, a loving mother, a loving wife, an amazing employee, a businesswoman, a creative, a podcaster, bringing the messages to the world.
Yeah, I love that.
That's what we do for each other. Did that answer your question?
Um, Not exactly, but I think what you said is like very interesting as well. But what I was asking was more like, what was the impact for you to start giving to other women like that, to be of service? Because, I'm thinking about what you just said earlier about the New Year's resolution, or like the word, and
Hmm.
then to be there and to do that, to do those little like art piece just like
Mm.
specifically for this person, you know? It's just like I know that for myself when I do something like that for others, it's just like it opens my heart like so wide that sometimes it even like scares me, you know? So I was, yeah, I was asked.
Yes. Yes. I would, yes. Okay. So did my heart crack open wider
Right.
from giving in a pure loving light energy way of giving without the the judgment or the expectation that it will come back to me in the same way. It's that scale, right? Oh, I gave this much love, you haven't given me enough back. No, I don't operate that way. What I'm aware of is that when I give, it opens my heart and allows me to receive whatever energy or messages are for me.
Hmm.
It doesn't necessarily have to come from the same person or the same people or the same
Yeah.
circle. But what it does do is if I'm giving or when I'm giving, my message to the universe is Mare can receive more.
Hmm.
And the more I receive, the more I give. So my human container expands, 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 expands.
Did you ever get scared? You know?
Yes, I'm having a human experience. Of course. Of
No,
course
but
I got scared. I was scared I was never going to get married. I got married at 42.
right. No, but I mean, like, did you ever get scared about like giving, giving, and receiving and expanding? Like, did you get scared of around like that?
Of course, I'm having a human experience. Fear is part of the package. Fear is the judgment dragon rumble. Fear is fear is just an ingredient in being human.
Mm,
So yes, there's fear. And I feel the fear and do it anyway. Or I feel the fear and I call somebody in circle and say, um,
mm,
I I have this calling to do a podcast, but I don't want to do it by myself. Will you do it with me? So my friend Tara is doing it with me, right? So there's an example of yes, I was afraid. I was afraid to show up in that. What's going to happen when my thinking and my ideas are out there in the world? You know, is
mm.
somebody going to take that idea and run with it and do something different with it? Yes, there is some of that. And I do the meditation work. I do the breath work.
Mm, mm, mm.
I'm learning all the time. I listened to your podcast earlier today about the numerology and the life story or the life book of the Akashic records. I'm hungry for there's so much I don't know that I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm open to taking in additional new data and go, oh, that would help me see it in a different perspective.
Mm.
I yes, so yes, fear is just a piece of the it. I'm not afraid of fear.
Yeah.
I appreciate fear. I did not always appreciate fear. Let's get clear. This
For
has
sure.
come with time. But I'm at the stage of my life where I appreciate fear because fear is data
Mm,
that is beckoning me to pay attention to something. And in the paying attention of what am I afraid of, I can ask myself the questions. Is this mine? Oh my
mm,
gosh, this is my mother's. This is
mm.
not mine, right? Or, oh my gosh, this is the United States of America point of view. It is not the world point of view.
Yeah.
This is etc, right? So that I can bump
Yeah.
up again what's really going on here. What I can unpack the fear at this point.
Mm-mm.
That doesn't mean that the first thing, like I can feel the fear in my body, and I might go into an intense uh, anxiety,
Mm.
energetic vortex for whoever knows how much time. But as soon as I become conscious that I'm experiencing fear, I can now ask myself a set of questions. I can breathe, I can meditate, I can journal. I have tools that I can use. I
Yes.
can take a walk.
Yeah.
There are things I can do. So I don't stay stuck in fear
Mm.
anymore. Does that make sense? I can
Well,
use the
yeah.
fear to inform me,
Yes, I
to
love that.
inform my
And
choices.
yeah, I do the same. And I used to be so fearful. And like for me, what changed, I guess, I don't know when it changed actually, but I remember being young and being very scared and very, very afraid of everything and all the impacts that I could have in the world. And, um, but yeah, I feel like fear is just data, like you said, and it's just some kind of a compass to tell you like what's going on, and to help you navigate your ego better.
Yeah. 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 It's a communication tool.
It's
It,
yeah, exactly,
mhm,
exactly. And as they
yep.
say, like courage is not like the absence of fear. It's just like you do it anyway. That fear is there and you're just like for me fear is like I see that as a little kid inside of me that just needs to be old, or to just like that I can older and to just like be, like let's cross that together, and instead of just like being like so overwhelmed by it, you just keep on doing things. Yeah, I wanted to talk just a little bit about that teamwork because yeah, that teamwork in your podcast I think is very interesting. How so you got scared, you told earlier you got a little scared of doing this podcasting, and then this friends of yours just like showed up and you guys started to create that together. Is that how it happens?
So, how it happened is that my friends have been trying to get me to bring conscious connection circles to the world for many years. I've always just kept it private within, I've helped other women do their own circles, but I I haven't charged any money. I haven't, I haven't done, I've just done the
Yeah,
service, right? The service of it. But my
yeah,
friends
yeah,
are like, no, no, the world really needs this. The world needs connection.
yeah.
The world needs to understand how to build connections, how to maintain connections, how to expand their connections.
Mm,
When COVID happened and we couldn't physically meet in person once every 6 months,
right.
I learned how to do Zoom. And then my friend said, "Oh, let's try an experiment." And so we got a different group of women together once a month on
Mm,
Zoom, just as an experiment. And what strangers, like, what we learned is that some women need more than once every 6 months,
right. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
and that Zoom makes it more accessible because most of them are moms, and it's hard to find someone to take care of the kids for
Yeah.
3 or 4 hours because you might have to drive somewhere. You have a few hours, you have to drive an hour back. There's
Mm-mm.
a lot that goes into the logistics of being a mom and doing things to take good care of yourself.
Yes.
Zoom kind of mm, neutralizes some of that because if you're on a call for 1 to 2 hours versus being gone for 4 to 6, depending on where you live and etc., it made it more accessible, and women
Yes.
were needing, what I realized is that women need more than once every 6 months. It works once every 6 months, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned is that doing it monthly on Zoom has made it deeper and richer and wider and more accessible
I
to
love
women.
that.
And then they wanted a class. They wanted me to create some online class so other people could play and get involved. And that's part of what I'm creating. That's part of my creative process, kind of where I'm at. And then Kathy Heller's invitation to be on a podcast
Mm.
into come play podcast. I
Yeah.
don't know why I said yes. I mean, I went to the 5-day free boot camp, and at the end of it, I was like, there's something calling me here. I never
Yeah.
thought about podcasting. I took the class, or no, actually, the first time was just the 5 days. That's all I did. I did
Mm.
not take the class. But I talked to my friend we were doing the Zoom thing together and trying to come up with a class online. And I said, oh, Kathy Heller says all you have to do is show up and record. So let's show up and record. Let's just play. Let's just do it messy, not with the intention of actually creating a podcast. And so we were showing up every month, she and I, talking about conscious connections for
Nice.
over a year. And then Kathy's class came up again, or her free boot camp came up again.
Right.
I took it, and this time I signed up for the class, and that's how it happened. It wasn't a conscious, oh, do this with me. No, I was like, play with me. Like, let's just see what happened. Just I was just doing it out of play. Period. And this particular friend responds very well to play.
Nice. I love
That's how it
that.
happened.
So the way you're doing the podcast, is it like you guys are talking together, or yeah, it's like a
Yes,
conversation?
it's conversations about we unpack some living intention statements. We talk about the process. We have begun to interview women who've been in conscious connection circles. So starting in February, there will be interviews of women who've been in a conscious connection circle and how it's changed their lives. And we're working on the place where you start is the list. That's your ticket into a circle, is having
Yeah.
draft list, and it's a living list. You're not married to the list. You're not married to any item on the list. It's just your starting place, and you get to change your mind.
I
And when
love
you
it.
hear other women's dreams on paper,
Mm.
you will say, I want that. I want that. I want that. And you can.
Yeah.
You can. and
Yeah,
and you
that's
just
amazing.
move things off your list and put those things. That's the 50, right? The 50
Yeah.
is that you've got a container of 50. If something you say I want, I just choose one of my items. Maybe it's swimming with the dolphins, and I move that off, and instead I put in be a podcaster, be a brave podcaster, show up with courage and podcast. As now, because of you, that is what I want on my list. There's enough for everyone to have exactly the same 50 if they want. I mean, humans don't do that, but there's room for you to hear other people's dreams and see
Mm.
yourself in it and choose it.
I love that. It's amazing. I just love your concept. I think your friend was right. I think it's really needed, like especially right now with like the internet it's a blessing, as you said. Like it's just like it's so easy to connect with people, and also like it goes really fast, and sometimes you get lost in translation, or you get lost in like the algorithm or anything. And I feel like that's why we need to stay connected, like truly connected, and not just through social media all the time, but just like really talk to each other and connect with each other in some deep ways. So tell me, where can we find your podcast?
We're on Apple and Spotify at this point. I'll get Carol Lee Garrison to help me get on other things, but right now those are the two sites where I am: is Apple and Spotify and Apple. And our website is under construction, but the website is also Connection Project 360.
Amazing. Amazing. And just to finish, like, do you have an advice for women like what would be the first step to receiving? Because I know we talked about that earlier, how women are so good at giving, so good at giving all the time. And then when it's time to receiving, sometimes we struggle a little bit more about around that. So what would be your first step to help women start receiving?
I would ask them the question of, what are you pretending not to know?
Hmm.
And then I would ask them, can I remind you of who you are? Because you want their permission. And when they
Mm-hmm.
say yes, then I'm going to tell them who they are. If it's me and I am aware that I'm in a judgment dragon fear rumble, I will call a friend and say, I'm in a fear judgment dragon rumble. Will you remind me of who I am?
Hmm.
And just let them say all the stuff they're going to say. And I might not be able to take all of it in,
Mm-hmm.
but pieces of it stick. And as you practice, it's practice. Bottom line, it's practice. Be brave enough to show up and practice. And if you start just by creating your own by yourself, the 50 things, 50 living intentions to live your best life, to and dream big, dream wild, dream crazy. Allow it just to bubble out. Start there. Just start there.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here with me and with us. It was a pleasure to have you today. Thank you, Mare.
Delighted. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate that you're here with me. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share this episode with people you think might benefit from it. If you need support with your lifestyle and well being, feel free to reach out to me. It will be my pleasure to help you with an Ayurvedic consultation. You can go to my website, marigolera.com, to book a session with me. Remember, in the wisdom of Ayurveda, self care is not a luxury, but a sacred responsibility and a journey of nurturing oneself to foster holistic well being. I wish you an amazing rest of your day. Much love to you, and I'll see you in the next episode.